Hello and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to give you the complete guide to financial freedom that you won't follow. In this video, I'm going to tell you how to become financially independent, and I titled it The Complete Guide to Financial Freedom That You Won't Follow because most of you will not follow this guide. In fact, I'm doing this video because a friend asked me to, and occasionally I get questions about why I only work a part-time job. How do I take so many vacations? This guide is really for the select few of you that will benefit, and I'm okay with that. Now, this is a gaming channel, so you might be asking, what exactly do you have to offer? Well, most of the strategies that I have developed in video games are based on game theory, and I apply them to real life. So this guide largely will be a reflection of what I've learned in video games that I've applied to my personal finances that have benefited me so greatly. I was able to become financially independent several years ago. Quick disclaimer here, please double check the information I provide here with a financial professional. This is not financial advice. I'm going to be going through this as if it were a video game, and I'm going to split the chapters into levels, side quests, and bosses. Please look down below for the chapters if you need to scroll to a specific topic, and please consider liking and subscribing if any of this information helps you out. Level 1. What is financial independence? Financial independence is living a life on your own terms without the stress of financial burden. I define financial independence loosely on purpose because it will mean different things for different people. It's basically a choose your own adventure book. To some, it could mean to never have to work again, or to others that they only have to work part-time. Maybe you want to be a multimillionaire, or maybe you want to spend more time with family. Financial independence will mean different things to different people. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Level 2. Setting a goal. We're going to start with defining what your goal is. The great thing about this strategy is you get to choose. If we don't have a goal, we don't know where we're going. Just to give you something to work with, most people seeking financial independence use the 3% rule. The 3% rule is the percentage of your overall net worth that you can withdraw safely to maintain your wealth over time. This assumes a 3% withdrawal rate and 3 to 4% inflation. That's a total of 7% annual expenses. So whatever financial independence looks like to you, broadly, financial independence experts use the 3% rule, and that's the amount of money that you will withdraw in financial independence that you may use to either supplement your income or it'll be your total income. And it accounts for inflation, and it also accounts for how much return that you're going to have on your investments. So for this to work, you need a 7% return on your investments. I'll show you how to do this later in the video. Just to give you more options, FAT financial independence, or FAT FI, is a 4 to 5% withdrawal rate. This usually requires a higher net worth. I didn't come up with these names. These names are just widely used in the financial independence community. Lean FI is a 1 to 2% withdrawal rate. This usually requires part-time work. And of course, the 3% withdrawal rate is more broadly used to become financially independent. If this video has helped you so far, please consider leaving me a like, sharing and subscribing, as the YouTube algorithm will most likely not promote this content since I'm a gaming channel. Level 3. Next, you are going to calculate your net worth. So we have a goal, a number that we need to meet, and then we're going to see what our baseline is right now. And then whatever our current net worth is, we're going to try to grow to our FI number, which would be our overall net worth that we need in order to transition into FI. And this timeline may take you 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. If you're very young, it'll most likely take you longer. If you're older, it may take you a shorter period of time. The importance is this is an endurance race. This is not get rich quick. This is get rich slow with a high degree of certainty. So essentially, if you don't know where you are, you won't know where you're going. In order to calculate your net worth, you need to draw a table with 3 lines. Write assets on the left side and liabilities on the right. Total all your assets and write them on the left side of the column. I'm going to put up an example here for you. Your assets here on the left will include your house, all the money in your bank accounts, and the total value of any other investments that you have. To find the value of your house or investment properties, simply reference Zillow or Redfin. I don't include things that can crash suddenly and lose all the assets, such as the value of your cars. Cars are kind of a weird one. I don't really calculate that. They're kind of just like a required staple of living. I also don't include things in my house like jewelry, TVs, computers, etc., as you most likely will need these items for everyday living. So this is basically any item that would be unreasonable to sell. Next, your liabilities are the sum total of all your debt. The main goal here is to eliminate the right side of this table before we can consider ourselves financially independent. So you have assets on the left, liabilities on the right in this table. And as you can see here, we have checking, savings. It's probably a investment account. And then they're totaling it up, itemizing it. So they have the kids' accounts here. They also have their retirement accounts listed and their home's value. And then they total the assets down at the bottom. And then the examples of liabilities here on the right side of this table, you have the credit cards. It looks like they're paying off an iPhone. They have federal loans and private loans, their mortgage, home equity, line of credit, and then they have auto loans here. And it looks like their total net worth here is $110,000. So now that you've come up with your net worth, depending upon which withdrawal rate you choose, you need to come up with your FI number. So it's going to be integral for you to plan a budget now that you'll also follow in financial independence to know what your FI number is, and then taking the withdrawal rate that you choose, that will guide your budget. So if I had $2 million and a 3% withdrawal rate, that means I have $60,000 to live off of a year, and we would do this now, and then eventually we will arrive at that $60,000 number that we would live off every year. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a lot of money, but if you don't have any debt, your dollar is going to go a lot further. And if you practice financial independence skills, your dollars will also go a lot further. So essentially, you're lowering what is called a burn rate. The burn rate is essentially all your expenses. Level 4, create your ideal retirement budget. Sun Tzu says, know your enemy and know yourself. The enemy here is your expenses, and yourself is what you actually use and need to live off of. Align your budget to what you actually use and need. Replace I want with I need. Stop buying things you don't need to impress people you don't like. Gary Vaynerchuk. Remember, most people only think about themselves. If you have a friend that hangs out with you because you have nice things, that's not a friend. Have average things and attract people who like you for who you are, not what you have. Now, your expenses are going to change over time and will change with inflation and your personal situation. We're going to account for this in our budget, and I'll show you how to do this later. So now we're going to create a budget. This is much more simple than you might think. You only need to ballpark your average monthly expenses. So here's a sample monthly budget that I found on the internet. And as you can see here, they've broken it up to weeks. I do it monthly, but you have things listed here such as rent, mortgage, insurance, electricity, water, sewer, gas, trash, internet, phone, cable, all your subscriptions, your grocery, you're dining out. So essentially, you're going to make this budget and then live within this budget. No going out to eat every night. Going out to eat is going to be budgeted. So you're going to have a specific amount of times a month or a week that you're going to be able to go out to eat or do luxury type things. Not every dollar needs to be accounted for, but be as accurate as possible. The mini game here is to lower expenses as much as possible. Once the expenses are lowered, you won't know the difference, but you'll be earning much more cash each month. I will discuss strategies to lower expenses and to make lifestyle changes at the end of this video. Going through the exercise of creating a budget will help you see how far you need to go to achieve your goal and define a timeline to reaching your number. So as Sun Tzu says, know your enemy and know yourself. Your FI number is the amount of money you will need to cover all of your yearly expenses at the withdrawal rate you choose. So a net worth individual, as I said before, with $2 million with a withdrawal rate of 3% can safely withdraw $60,000 a year to live off of. And just to reiterate this, $60,000 doesn't seem a lot, but if you tighten up your budget and your expenses, you'll be able to live off this number quite easily, particularly if you have no debt. Okay, here's our first side quest. Your first side quest on your way to becoming financially independent will be to save $5,000 as a rainy day fund. The second side quest is after you save $5,000, you need to save 3 months of expenses. You can arrive at this number by referencing your budget above. It's going to be your monthly expenses times 3. This fund will take out variability in your budget and will allow for uncommon events to play out without incurring debt. Level 5. Now we are going to take the excess income that we found in our budget and pay off debt. Remember, the goal here is to achieve FI with no debt. Debt adds variability to the budget and is a drag on your expenses. Get rid of it and never go back. So essentially why I don't carry any debt is because we want a guaranteed outcome. If you have an overhang of debt, then you're never going to be sure if there's a life-changing event, if you're going to be able to pay off the debt as well as meet your financial goals. And it was interesting. I just saw a video on how Warren Buffett looks at companies' balance sheets. And one of the biggest things that he looks at is the company's debt. And typically he only invests in companies with low debt or no debt. So the strategy that you're going to use to pay off your debt is going to be to pay off the lowest balance first. Psychological studies show this is more motivating. You are more likely to win with this strategy than paying off the highest interest rate debt first. So it's kind of counterintuitive, but this is what I did. And every time you pay off a balance and you no longer have that bill every month, you're going to feel like I need to do that again. While paying off all your debt, including your mortgage, you will take excess cash and invest it in accounts that grow cash free. So essentially what I did was while I was paying my debt off, I started making small payments to my retirement accounts. And I'm going to show you later, but these accounts grow tax free and lower your yearly tax rate. You'll have to come up with how much debt you pay off and how much you save on your own. It will vary person to person depending on the date you want to achieve financial independence. Level 6. Now that you're a budget positive and have money stacking up in your checking and retirement accounts, what do you do with all the money you're saving? The goal here is to invest money in retirement accounts that grow tax-free. If you're in a high tax bracket, greater than 30%, I would invest in an IRA. Money that goes into an IRA is tax deductible. So this will lower your overall tax rate. The money gets taxed when you withdraw it. Money that comes out before your retirement age will also get penalized. If you're in a tax bracket less than 30%, invest in a Roth IRA. Money that goes in is taxed, so it does not lower your overall yearly tax rate. Money that comes out is not taxed if you hold it in the Roth IRA account for 5 years. Many of you will have access to a 401k. This could be called a 403b or other different types of account, but they all operate similarly. Contact your HR to see what your company offers. Money placed into a 401k goes into the account tax-free, again, lowering your yearly tax rate. Money that comes out gets taxed. If you take out your money early, you will incur penalties. So again, the thing here is having those side quests complete before you start investing your money into these accounts, because you're going to use your savings to live off of if you have a life-changing event. You only invest in these accounts after you have your rainy day fund set. The magic behind putting money into these types of accounts is the money you place in these accounts reduces your taxable income and you end up making more money over time. So the money grows tax-free. When you withdraw from these accounts, the proceeds grow faster than taxes and or penalties when you withdraw money from these accounts. When you retire, withdrawals don't incur penalties. So there's several flavors of what you could do here. You could either wait till your retirement age to use these accounts to live off of, and that would be your financial independence age. Or you could even withdraw money from these accounts, accounting for the taxes and penalties that will be incurred, and essentially live off of that money as well. So even though there are penalties that are incurred, the amount of money that you're going to be making in these accounts will outpace that. And you're not going to be taking the money out of these accounts all at once. If you're, say, just using the base example that I gave, if you're taking out $60K a year, you're going to be in quite a low taxable income rate. So you need to account for these factors, how your penalties, if you're withdrawing the money early, and the amount of taxes that you're going to incur, and then put that into your budget. One thing that I forgot to mention is that some companies match a certain percentage of money you place in your 401ks too. So that would even increase the amount of money you're stacking up in these accounts as well. I would prioritize your 401k if you are getting a match, because that's outstanding. Level 7, what to invest in. The strategy I use to invest once the money is in these accounts, I consider to be low risk and high reward. Remember from earlier, your total expenses in FI will be 7%. This assumes a 3% withdrawal rate with 4% inflation, or 7% total. The investment I use to cover this 7% yearly expense in FI is exchange traded funds that mirror the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is a basket of the top US stocks that have always returned 7% over any given decade. This means you'll have up years and you'll have down years, but over time, you'll return 7%. You can go to Google Finance and look at the chart of the S&P 500 and look at the track record of this investment. Okay, so I simply Googled the S&P 500. This is the max. So this is since it began, since 1996, it's grown 642%. The main thing to look at here is that it has always gone up and to the right. So over any given decade, it returns about 7%. As you can see, there could be swings here, but you're going to gap this with your budget and your rainy day fund. And over time, you can make quite a bit of money. And this grows in your retirement accounts tax-free. Another interesting thing about this chart is that over the last 10 years, the S&P 500 has even returned more than 7%. So we can see here, over the last 5 years, the S&P 500 has gone up 84%. Okay, so that's about 16% in the last 5 years. So it will do better, it will do worse, but sometimes you do better. So for these reasons, I feel that this investment is the right one for me. There are many exchanges that cover the S&P 500. Make sure that you look at the expenses on the individual mutual fund or whatever exchange traded fund that you're investing in, because some of them have quite high expenses. You want to go with a no load mutual fund. That's a expense that's less than 0.1%. So make sure to check with your financial advisor in regards to that. Okay, next side quest, lowering your monthly expenses. Lowering your burn rate or your monthly expenses will be critical to reaching your FI number in a timely fashion. Don't take this on all at once. Developing financial skills are earned, not given. You must develop these skills one by one over time. Here's a list of things I did when starting my journey to lower my expenses. I don't regret doing one of them, and I feel I haven't missed out on anything by not having these things. So first, I eliminated all recurring payments that are not necessary. A few examples of these would be app subscriptions, gym memberships. I even went so far as to reduce the size of my trash can so that my monthly trash payment was lower. You can look at your credit card and checking account statement to identify some of these expenses quickly. Eliminate these expenses with extreme prejudice. If you're not using something, get rid of it. Reduce remaining recurring payments. Reduce luxury items. This means learn to cook, buy used, go to yard sales, check on buy nothing pages. All of these things will reduce your monthly burn rate, and they're going to add up money in your checking account very quickly. You would be surprised how often you can get brand new items on buy nothing pages. Cooking at home is a really big deal because when you do your budget, you're going to find that most of you spend most of your money on food. Engage in activities where you train yourself to spend less. So some of these might be spend nothing for 3 days, then try spending nothing for 7 days. Go to a yard sale, get on that buy nothing page. Things like that will really add up and train your habits to not spend as much. Invest in non-discretionary items that reduce living expenses. Non-discretionary items are things you must buy to live on. One area would be energy. You can reduce or eliminate this bill by purchasing solar if you own a house. Another non-discretionary item would be transportation. Invest in an EV. The financial gains of owning and operating an EV are absolutely parabolic. Check out your net worth frequently. I check my net worth weekly or monthly if I'm busy. This activity tells you if your budgeting is on the right track. There are many more things you could do to reduce your monthly expenses. I treat this as if it was a game. Every dollar saved is another dollar working for me that I can invest. Picture dollars as freedom credits marching in an army to save you from financial burden. Level 8, the final boss. There was a military strategist who once said, "No plan survives first contact with the enemy." This was Clausewitz. Once you have proved that you can live within your budget, you have no debt, and you have reached your net worth number, it's time to transition to FI. But what to do now? The struggle that I found once reaching FI is what to do with my time. All of a sudden, there was an infinite amount of things that I could potentially do with my time, and no one telling me to show up to work every day. This is why I have dedicated my time to making YouTube content like this to help people in need of information on specific topics. But this is not all I do. Here's a list of things that I enjoy and find fulfilling that also add meaning to my life. Spending more time with family, cooking healthy food, exercising, yard work and home improvement projects, volunteering, vacationing, and working a part-time job. I believe that these activities not only benefit other people, but help me gain fulfillment in life and will lead to a longer, healthier, and fuller life. The reason I put this information out there is to help those in need of this information. If you have a friend that needs some ideas about their finances, I would appreciate it if you share this video with them. This information will also reach more people if you like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, guys.